Just being devil's advocate, they'd say the same to you. In Britain, about 18 months ago, an economic affairs committee in the House of Lords, full of the great and the good, tried to cost climate change, the economics of climate change, and they said it's anything between $80 billion and $1,100 billion, depending on whether you adopt the gradualist or the speedier approach. And that's what I'm saying, is that people, when they are elected, are going to find it very hard to say we've got to tackle climate change, but actually there may be a slowdown in economic growth, and nobody's going to run on that.
I'm a believer you can't do anything for the year 2050. You can do something for the year 2010. You can do something for the year 2015. Nobody knows the future. Nobody can do things that long. We've got to start and do things today, and it is economically viable. In fact, it is profitable to do some of these things today to improve the air that we breathe, the water we drink, to reduce the congestion that is stifling our economy, to do things that create jobs.
You want legislation. Do you want it at federal level? Is that the thing that you're saying? You want federal government to do something? Isn't it enough if we have the local initiatives, the initiatives taken at state level, like in California, for instance?
I think the leadership that Mayor Bloomberg's showing, that many states are showing, is great. But we're going to end up with a patchwork of different regulation, which is not going to be nearly as efficient and still going to confuse the landscape.
We now have a bipartisan majority in the United States Senate to adopt what's called a cap and trade system. That is to do what Chad wants, to set uniform national price for carbon. And I'm really proud of the fact that Senator John McCain, who's a candidate for president of the Republican primary, and my wife took reluctant Republicans all over the world to look at evidence of climate change, and they and others have worked together, and we now have a majority of both Republicans and Democrats to do that. And then I think we will go to China and India, not in a hateful, negative, threatening way, but saying, guys, we're going to make this work. We think you can make this work. It'll be good for your health. Your people will like it. It will disperse economic growth. It will help in China and India for different ways. The Chinese are getting unbelievable growth, but everybody's rushing to the coastal cities. People can't make a living in the country. If they make a commitment to a different energy policy, they can. In India, you've got a government that took office only because only 1/3 of the people were participating in 9% growth a year. The Indian government wants to do something for the other 2/3. A clean energy policy will do that. They'll create millions of jobs for the other 2/3. I think we'll be able to win this on the evidence, on the facts, but not until we have clean hands. And meanwhile, as Chad says, we can't do this without the business community, and you can't expect everybody to do what he's doing. You have to expect people to follow a system, and that's why we need the legislation.
Okay, I want to put a question to all of you. Wangari Maathai, more of a personal question here, but ever since you became committed to green issues, in what way has it had an impact in your own life? How did you change your lifestyle? Are you happy with your carbon footprint?
Well, I'm not very happy with my carbon footprint because, especially in the last few years, I've been traveling a lot and I've been using airplanes, so I think about that. But I also have made it a personal commitment to plant trees, because that's one thing I can do, is doable. If I don't have to travel by car, I don't travel, I walk if I can. Unfortunately, I live in a city that doesn't have pathways, so I cannot ride a bicycle even if I could. But that's also why I try to encourage people all over to plant trees and encourage governments, especially governments in developing countries, to protect forests.
You've planted 30 million trees. There's an awful lot of air miles that you've offset for that. Chad Holliday, same question to you. Are you happy with your carbon footprint? Have you changed your life?
There's still much more we all could do, but I have a hybrid vehicle, and 19% of our vehicles in DuPont are hybrids today. Every time we have a major meeting, if we can't eliminate the meeting, we plant enough trees to offset that. And just the example that shows, I think, makes a difference, and it's changing the way people's lives are impacted.
Mike Bloomberg?
On a personal level, I took the subway here.
That's commendable.
Yeah.
Seriously, I think my job is to lead by example, so I've changed the light bulbs in my house and in City Hall. I take the subway every day because, number one, it's the quickest way to get to work, even though I do, in all fairness, drive to different subway stops to try to take different lines, but that's okay. I want to set an example to the public. take mass transit. The change is going to come from within, and I think it's actually starting already.
Bill Clinton.
Yep.
Hey. How have you changed your lifestyle?
I have a hybrid mini SUV and a flex fuel SUV that runs on biofuels. I have changed all the light bulbs in my home. My building is one of the first buildings in our partnership for building retrofits, my building in Harlem. I am putting new glass in my 110-year-old farmhouse that has a resistance factor of R11. It's like a wall, and yet it lets in more light and keeps out more heat than a regular light. I check the option that my utility provides to pay a little more for my electricity, and it's generated from wind. This conference is carbon neutral, and my worst offense is I fly too much.
Okay, got to leave it there. Well, we've thrashed out some of the challenges and dilemmas that confront America in the climate debate. It would seem that increasingly more and more Americans are jumping on the green bandwagon. At what speed it's going, who's actually responsible for driving it, and what the final destination is still being worked out. But we have engaged some of the leading voices in the climate debate here in the United States. Thank you to them all: Bill Clinton, Wangari Maathai, Mayor Mike Bloomberg and Chad Holliday. And thank you, of course, to all of you here in New York for listening, and to you at home for watching. From me, Zainab Badawi, and the rest of the team, goodbye.